Wow, somebody's here already. Amazing. Who art thou? Ah, Patricia. Good morning. Here we go. Yep, 100%. A lot going on in the news. I feel like, there's so much information coming out right now. It is just like there's just not enough time. I go through these like cycles where I'm like just jumping into like finding things out like on a really rapid, like running down a rabbit hole really fast, and then it slows up a little bit. And when I get to the end of the rabbit hole, but right now I'm doing a lot of research. I'm finding out a lot about clones and how the ETs do it, how they infiltrate, and it's pretty cool. Putting that together with the Torah portion is interesting. How are things in your world? Down in Texas. Ah, two folks are here. Could it be Tara? On a slight delay? All right. Anyway, let's rock. I get two folks. I see Patricia's here. Oh, just Patricia. Okay. Not a problem. I want to start with the yom yom, with the saying of the day, because I remember I read this out loud in shul every day when I get that's my YouTube channel in shul, as I read the yom yom every day, and I get to slip in a few words of my own thoughts, usually about the medical treatment. William, wow, shalom. From Florida. Where in Florida? Okay, we'll find out. We'll find out where in Florida. So anyway, William, it's good to see you. Good to see Patricia. I'm starting with the yom yom today. Wow, it looks a lot longer in here. Oh, because I probably missed something when I read it this morning. But okay, so I'm gonna read the whole thing. Hey, Richard, I have to thank you, man. You saved my behind again. Thank you so much, man. Please God, you should be repaid with good health, and your family should all be blessed, and only good things. Only good things. Okay, so I'm starting today with a yom yom because I thought it was auspicious. I thought it was interesting. They say on Shabbos Uvorchen, which is this Shabbos, by the way. This Shabbos is Shabbos Uvorchen, meaning it's the Shabbos that we get ready for the new month. I think I'm talking too loud. I overwhelm my microphone. Hey, Tara. We all the men say the whole book of Tehillim, of Psalms, on Shabbos morning. And this is, for me, it's a lot of work. It takes me hours and hours. So, I kind of plan my, every fourth Shabbos that I know that I'm not going to get to do all the things I really love to do. Like, for example, I'm having, like, my best friend is coming over. One of my best friends is coming over for Shabbos. And I know that I'm going to just try to like say as much as I can before he gets there so I can really hang with him. I haven't seen him in a couple of weeks. Okay, that's Shabbos of work, and so if anybody, to say a psalm or two, they say that if we knew how good it is to say psalms, we would say them all day long. Don't try this trick at home; it's not easy. I've tried it. No, I haven't. I've tried to say like Chillum, and I go through phases. Sometimes I'm able to do it. Usually when I'm in a foxhole, like when things are really down, like if they're coming after me at work, I have the magical ability to start saying psalms again when I know I need help. Um, the Haftorah. Okay, so there's a Haftorah also. Okay, so From a talk from my Revered Father, the Rebbe Rashab. The Rebbe Rashab was 3 Rebbes ago. It's Rebbe Menachem Mendel. That was the our Rebbe, really. The Frierdiker Rebbe is his father-in-law, and then the Rebbe Rashab, who was like his Hasidus is just it's stunning. It's really, I mean, he's like, each of the Rebbe's had a slightly different approach to teaching Hasidus, and everything is recorded from the 1700s. I mean, it's unbelievable. There's no other tradition, I don't think, that has such a wealth of writing. I mean, everything was written down, and these are really like channeled, heavy duty channeled pieces. Anyway, from a talk from my Reverend Father, the Rebbe Rashab, the historical exodus from Egypt foreshadows every individual's personal departure from limits and boundaries. I mean, this is something I'm constantly saying on my videos. Beyond this, Chassidus enables us to free ourselves from the limits and boundaries of this material world. And then they're going to say a caveat, which is really important. There is a difference between these two spiritual thrusts. A personal spiritual exodus from Egypt, in the usual sense, involves shattering worldliness and abandoning it. For this reason, the Jews left Egypt. They totally left materiality. In contrast, undergoing a personal spiritual exodus from Egypt, in the Hasidic sense, involves refining, bururim, and rectifying, tikkun, liberating oneself from the limits and boundaries of the world while remaining in the world. And this is what's so cool about Judaism. It says, like, you should be totally out there, man, totally connected to God, but you still have to do what you have to do. You still have to take out the garbage, in my case. In other words, while being involved in this world, one ought to constantly aspire to be outside its bounds. They say in other traditions, be in it but not of it, or something like that, or be of it and not in it. I forget the exact expression. One is to remove the confinements and restraints and perceive the truth that and this is what I love about this Yom Yom, that the world itself is in fact good, right? For after all, this is what God willed, and this perception may be attained through the spiritual labors prescribed in Chassidus. So, by learning Chassidus, you come to understand that it's all good, even when it looks tough. It doesn't look like so much fun. That's good too. Like right now, I think I'm really examining all these things. Like yesterday, I went heavily into cloning and this thing called Vril. I don't know if you've ever heard of Vril, but a Vril is and this is out there, but the reptilians put these Vrils, these little creatures, in the eyes of people they want to take over from. Yeah, it's all good because I think because you have the sense that even when something difficult comes to you and it seems like now, like really in the times, it looks like these evil ones are like controlling the world and it's all over, but really this is just like such a great wake-up call. And you can see how people are waking up to this and really coming into their full power, because we as human beings have been taught by the Kabbalah that we are useless and we're no good and we have too many bad habits and we're not smart enough, we're not good looking. Well, in my case, I'm good looking enough, right? But I joke. But all these things. I used to say that when I was a permanent substitute, like periodically in the Department of Education, they would punish me, and instead of putting me in the rubber room, they would make me like a permanent substitute, and they'd send me to the worst schools in Brooklyn, which I loved. I mean, you couldn't find a tougher gang of thugs that I didn't completely adore. I liked being with thugs, so maybe it's like my kind. So they would send me to these horrible, in their mind, horrible schools, and I would just have the best time. But I'd always start my things to sort of win over the people. I would say, I know what you're thinking. I know, how did you get so lucky to have such a good looking teacher to be standing in front of you? And they would all look at me like, but that's how I would get them over so they wouldn't, you know, throw me out the window. Anyway, no, but there's honor amongst thugs, and yeah, there was a Vril society, right? So there are these creatures that they put into people, like all the politicians you see. Those are not real people, according to this line of thinking. Those are basically either clones or Vrils, meaning a reptilian entity comes into their eyes around. They do look like an operation, I think, around their eyes and takes over their optic nerve and basically takes over their brain. And it's apparently very painful. But once they take over their brain, the body belongs to the person and the memories. This vril, this reptilian, has all the memories of the person and acts like the person, but it's not really the person. It's really the reptilian manifesting in this realm, because they can't manifest in a regular way. They're like in a different dimension, so they have to like come through people, and they have to eat people. That's another thing, but I definitely don't want to broach that subject. Anyway, so the thing is that God is good, and even though we are facing a horrific enemy, horrific, uh, you know, uh, unbelievable what they're doing to kids and this sort of thing. This is, and we have to go through this tough experience. It's waking people up to their power, to their real potential, the real miracle of being you, of being a human being in a body in this time period. I mean, it's having your experiences, having your unique way of looking at things, and you we're sort of trained to think of us like, oh, I'm just a loser, but it's just the opposite. And now we're coming into our power because we're seeing the people we thought were the winners are really the losers, and the losers are really the winners. So that's it. Anyway, I don't want to get too off track here. I want to get into this Torah portion, because this is really, now we're really getting into the really exciting part of the Exodus. And this is where the plagues are hitting the Egyptians. And this is going on today. This is like, this could be on CNN. If CNN was like a um, normal newscasting service, they would be talking about how the plagues are going to hit the bad guys right now. And it's just starting in today's Torah portion. So buckle up and get your popcorn, guys. We got this. Um, I had a nice conversation with Mel Carmine. I did that interview with him the other day. That was the first time I've been like out in the world. It's like I'm growing up, and I'm leaving home a little bit. It was so much fun. But he said something that concerned me, so I called him up this morning. We had just the most. It's really nice to talk to another guy who's like basically trying to do the same thing. Um, Okay, so let's go to, so we're in Vayera, Parshas Vayera, and it's Wednesday, which in Yiddish is Mitvach, meaning midweek. Everything is based on Shabbos, and I don't know um, how to bridge that gap. And in fact, one of the things that I want to do soon is I have a very dear friend who's expert in the Noahide laws, and I want to get him here. I want to see, because Noahide, as far as I know, Noahide people are not supposed to keep Shabbos the way Jews do. It's not one of the seven commandments that they follow. Um, so I want to talk to him about it, because I heard that there's a certain non-Jewish group that keeps Shabbos on Shabbos. And I mean, this is not a politically correct thing to say, but I heard that they have to steal to make a living, because they're not really supposed to keep Shabbos. It's not really good for them. So anyway, so the fifth reading, this is the fifth day of the week already, and I already have my plans for Shabbos. Because it's Shabbos V'vorach, and I have to say Psalms, I begged my wife to let us just stay home. Those are really my favorite Shabbos, is when it's just my little family. And my wife is a really good cook. She makes like great chicken soup, and she just has. It's just it's very comfortable. But I have to say a lot of Psalms, so I start saying it at night. Most of the guys say it in the morning in 2 hours, from 8 to 10 in the morning. But I start the night before, because otherwise I'll never get finished. It still takes me all day. So the frogs will depart from you. Fifth reading. Is this, yeah, am I right? Am I doing this right? No, this must be the fourth day. I'm sorry. This is the fourth day. Where does this begin? Let me say it from this other book. This is the abridged version. Okay. Frogs, man. I mean, frogs. I was a frog hunter when I was little, and so I had a lot of experience with frogs. I loved tadpoles. I liked seeing. I mean, maybe that's how I got the way I am. I like to see things change. I like to things go from tadpoles into frogs. I like to see metamorphosis. Um, so, oh, this is a long. Okay, so the Eternal said to Moshe and Aaron to say in His name, if Pharaoh speaks to you saying, produce a sign of proof, you're going to take your staff, right? And you'll throw the staff down. So they all threw down their staffs. Now it goes into like current tense. By the way, did anybody check out Jay Gould, that whole thing with the nautical, with the birth certificates being illegal and all that stuff? Right. So it doesn't say that non-Jews should not observe Shabbos, but it's not one the there are 10 commandments for Jews and there are 7 commandments for non-Jews. So it I'm not saying I don't want to seem like the bad guy. I have to get my friend. You know, sh- it could be, probably my guess is that you could keep Shabbos, but you shouldn't keep it absolutely. Meaning you should do something to not keep a perfect Shabbos. What is a perfect Shabbos? I don't think any of us even really know, but it's like we don't flick light switches, we don't, you know, we don't cook, we don't, everything has to be prepared ahead of time because we don't because we're following the law of not starting a fire on Shabbos. But I think it's an established idea that non-Jews are not supposed to keep Shabbos. I don't know how that fits with Noahide people. That's why I have to get my friend Shia to come and share. You'll love this guy. He's like so much fun. He's too much fun, man. He's too much fun. He's like, oh, poor guy. Anyway, all right. So he comes. So he throws in. They throw down their staffs, and Moses' staff eats the other staffs. But Paro's not impressed. He's like, it's just tricks, man. My guys can do that. It's no biggie. Um, uh, then you say. Each man threw down a staff and they became serpents. But Aaron's staff then swallowed up their staff. So Pharaoh's resolve was strong, and he did not pay heed. He was not impressed. So the Eternal said to Moshe, Pharaoh is not moved. He refuses to release the people. So go to Pharaoh in the morning, just as he is going to the water, and you shall stand by the riverbank to meet him, and you shall take in your hand the staff which turned into a snake. Hey, Carlo Joe. So you shall say to him, the eternal God of the Ephraim, the Hebrews, the Jews, has sent me to tell you, release my people so that they may serve me in the desert. This is a critical thing that a lot of people miss. And in popular culture, they say, let my people go. It's not let my people go. It's let my people go to serve me. Let my people go to do their avoda, to do their work, to worship God, to do the right thing, to be responsible. That's a very important point. Hey, prophecy seeker. So that's really key. That's cool. Um, so release my people so that they may serve me in the midbar, in the desert. Until now, you have not heeded my words. So this is what the Eternal has said. Though you will realize that I am the Eternal, I am going to strike the water, the river Nile with the staff. And remember that to them, the river Nile was kind of like a god. So the Eternal said to Moshe, say to Aaron, take your staff and raise your hand over the Mitzri waters, over their rivers, their canals, their ponds, and every place where the water is kept, and it will become like blood, even in the vessels. So they did as they thing, and the fish in the river died, and the river stank, and the Mitzri were unable to drink water from the river. The plague of blood affected the whole of Egypt. The Mitzri sorcerers did likewise with their secret spells. So, so Pharaoh was not moved. He was like, you know, you turn the rivers into blood. No, you know, my guys can do that too. A 7 day period was completed from when the Eternal first smote the river. So God said to Moshe, am I reading the right day? It's Wednesday. Yeah, go and you shall say to them that the Eternal said, release my people so they may serve me. If you're refusing to release them, I'm going to plague you. I'm going to plague all your territory with frogs. The river Nile will produce frogs abundantly. If in your bedroom, your beds, and your ovens, everywhere, man, you're going to see frogs. And so that's the third plague was the frogs, um, which is pretty cool, man. Frogs everywhere. Now I learned today, and I'm going to say this in the name of Reb Pinchas. He's a great teacher. He's a teacher who davens in my minyan. I mean, teaches kids in a yeshiva, and he was personally taught by Rabbi Mendel Futterfuss, who was a great chassid back in the day when the Rebbe was walking the earth, where we could see him. But he said to say in my name that the thing with the frogs was that they didn't release all the frogs at once. It wasn't just a plague where they had zillions of frogs in an instant. It started with just one frog, and if they didn't obey, that became more frogs, and if they still didn't obey, it became more and more depending on how much they were disobeying God's word. Yeah, God is faithful that He will never leave or forsake us. 100%. There's a pasuk. I don't have my sitter with us. I think I do though. Actually, I do have my sitter. I'm not going to spend time, but there's a thing that says, in our daily prayers, that He will never abandon or forsake us. I forget where that is. I'm not going to try to find it, but maybe if we ever get together on Zoom, I'll try to recreate that. So yeah, I that's what I think, Richard. I think there's a direct correspondence, and that's what the Alter Rebbe said. And the Alter Rebbe's yard site was yesterday. So the Alter Rebbe passed away yesterday on the Jewish calendar in 1812. Yeah, I 100% agree, Richard. And that's what he said. He said you should live with what had he put it? Live with the live with the times, and that meant live with the Torah portion of the day. So we are living with frogs, we're living with blood, and we are living with Aaron's staff swallowing the other staff. We are living with heavy duty magicians underground, these cloning people. I mean, there is nothing new under the sun. I don't think there's anything new. I think this is a continuation right now. What I The research I did yesterday, the big picture, yeah. The research I did yesterday convinced me that the war of Gog and Magog started in the Garden of Eden. It started because the war of Gog and Magog is about these reptilians, and when they mix their DNA with ours, that was the beginning of the war. And now, according to the things I saw yesterday, they are making hybrid humans. They're using this excuse for medicine they're using it to depopulate, but also to make hybrids. The people that survive will be made into hybrids, I believe. They will be made, they'll be transhuman, but essentially, hybrid. And yeah, that's the big picture. And so we're coming into, so I think what's going to happen is that, and I saw this thing. I'm giving you guys some cool stuff that I'm putting together the pieces from yesterday. That Bush Senior said that we want to make sure that the the weak will not be dominated by the strong. And what he meant by that, by the weak, The weak is the elite because there are not a lot of them. There are a lot of us, man. That's why they want to depopulate, because they know once we get angry, man, it's, it's goodbye, man. It's like, see you later, Sam. Yeah. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to start getting strikes against this channel, but um yeah, we're fast on our feet, and it's more than, this is more than YouTube. I'm on Rumble, by the way. If you ever, if you guys all, I'm sure all know this, but if anything ever happens to this channel, God forbid, I post on Rumble regardless. So, and also on Telegram. Rob makes sure I'm up on Telegram, so you can come either place. My Telegram channel is really growing. It's an exciting thing for me to see that the videos that I share, when I see a video that's really like impactful, I put it on my Telegram channel, and it's like, so you guys can sort of follow, and you guys can also post. There's a chat that you could post on, but if you really wanted to post a video, just get a hold of Rob. I'm not sure how you would do that. You could contact him on his Telegram channel and just ask him to post a video, or just send him a video on his channel. Um, Yeah, I'm trying to decipher the prophecy seeker. I'm not sure. By the way, prophecy seeker, you know that there's a book. Rambam wrote a book on prophecy. There's 2 volumes. It outlines, not very specifically, but it kind of gives you like the gist of how to become a prophet. I mean, it's a real level. It's a real. They used to have schools for prophecy, so there are certain techniques that can be used. Rambam doesn't go deeply into it, where you could actually, I don't think, he'll give you hints, but you would have to go into a deeper sources to really find out how it's done. But, like in, if like in the Jewish circles, it's not such a weird thing to be considered a prophet. And in the New Age, the Rebbe said that we will all prophesize, and that's why it could be beginning prophecy teacher. Maybe it's already starting, but it says when Mashiach comes that we will be on a level of prophecy greater than all the great prophets. Maybe not on the level of Moses, but we will all be able to prophesize, just like when they crossed the Sea of Reeds, when the Sea of Reeds split, they they said maidservants could prophesize greater than Ezekiel or whatever, Yeshayahu. So let me now go. I want to turn to Tanya for a few minutes, and then I probably want to come back to the Chumash. I could read it from this book a little more. Let's see if there are any really. I'm going to go back because the Tanya is really important. Right. They got him. And that's exactly what's happening to the Cabal. Everything they try to do to us backfires on them and hits them. Like they're trying to pass this thing about insurrection, that they want to arrest people who are in the insurrection. Guess who that's going to really end up hurting more? Um, they're so, you know, the reptilian consciousness. I want to say this. I want to say this publicly. And I don't think this. I don't think this will affect my channel. I just want to say this for the record. You reptilians are really stupid, and you can't think outside the box. You're just a bunch of dimwits. You may have some superpowers, but you are idiots. Okay, I just had to get that out. Thank you guys. Thanks for putting up with me. Um, And I like that. I like when number 17 says these people are really stupid. It's and I'm not a person to like I love like my best friend is a special needs person, and not I consider him very intelligent because he understands things on a different level. Amen. Yeah. Thanks, Carla Joe. Thanks for putting up with me. Um, you can see why they love me as a substitute teacher, man. I'm completely off the wall. And the kids are like, "Wow, this guy's fun." Um, Also, I would take the biggest guy in the class. When I walk into a class, when I was a substitute, permanent substitute, and they would put me out on, the death march for teachers, I would take the biggest, baddest guy in the class, and I tell him, "You watch the door, man. Let me know when the administrators are coming." And I would tell every kid, sit with a book open on your desk, and if anybody comes in, pretend like you're learning something. I was a bad boy. Anyway, That's the Department of Education. But actually, they probably learned more from that than they would have from core curriculum or whatever nonsense they were pushing at the time. Yeah, first fruits. Yeah, I think we're going to see amazing things. Pretend like you're learning, right? I hated classes. I mean, I was, and that's why I always tell people, God has a sense of humor. Be careful what you don't like, because I always hated teachers in classrooms, and God made me a teacher, so you have to be very careful. Um, okay, so let me get to the Tanya, because I think it's really we're getting to like really to me the heart of the Tanya right now, and this was a very long Tanya today. I actually didn't get to say the whole thing in Hebrew. I really like to say things in Hebrew. It gives you a lot of power. And I'm thinking I'm putting out a course now in the course is going to be about like kind of like some life hack tips, but I want to put a course in learning to pronounce Hebrew letters, because you don't have to be literate. Like after 20 years, I'm starting to just barely understand what I've been saying for 20 years. But you don't, you know, with most of this, like with Psalms, you could say them in Hebrew and not understand what you're reading, which is what I do, and it's okay. It's kosher. Okay, so they're talking about the Benoni, and this is really like this is essential things that the Benoni, the middle man, and it doesn't really mean middle man, because a Benoni is on a very, very high level, right? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, teaching. Oh my gosh, classrooms. Yeah, I mean, the whole classroom thing was designed by the Prussians, by the Germans, in order probably by the reptilians, how to indoctrinate a large group of people through fear. That's what the educational system is. Yeah, I think so, man. I think that's key. Because everybody sings with a different vibration, and I don't know if that's true of reptilians, man. They sing the same song, and they're really boring and ugly too. You guys are ugly. I'm sorry. I don't want to have a reptilian coming knocking at my door. Um, but anyway, so they're talking about the Benoni, the middle guy. So, but he's not really middle guy. To be a Benoni, like in my community, if you say I'm a Benoni, people look at you like, who does he think he is? Because very few people are on that level. It's very hard to attain a level where you never entertain. It doesn't mean that you don't have an evil thought, or I don't want to say evil, but you have a non-kosher thought, but it means you don't entertain it. You don't have thought, speech, or action that is not connected to holiness. And it's not because you're totally good. It's because you convert darkness into light. And this is a very, very, very high level. But it's something that we should be searching for. Yeah. Yeah, the bad traits. There was a guy, Uspensky, Gurdjieff. There was a philosopher named Gurdjieff. When I was religion hunting, I learned this from Gurdjieff. He would give prizes to students. What would he do? He would give, like, the biggest prize to the baddest kid in the class, the one who misbehaved the most, he would give the prize to, and that's probably, more in line with, reality. Thanks, prophecy teaching, man. Yeah. Um, yeah, we're living in a movie. This is Mashiach times. This is the footsteps of Mashiach, absolutely. And we are going through a transformation process that allows us all to learn in ways that we never really had the capability to do. I mean, 2 years ago, I could not have done um, this kind of teaching. I think it's because our vibrations are getting higher, and there's a lot to support that online with all these um channeled pieces. I mean, I'm a sucker for, I got very into Zachariah Sitchin many years ago, and it really drew me into Judaism. The whole thing with the giants and extraterrestrials, I don't believe it violates any kind of biblical thing. I get some heat from that. Yeah, yeah, we have to be unified, because unified, it's like the great the book where the all the minnows get together and they fake out the big fish because the big fish thinks it's a big, humongous, gigantic fish, but it's really just a bunch of minnows hanging together. And that's where the cabal man is making a very big mistake, because when we strike them, yeah, okay. It's all good. Anyway, Wednesday. So it talks about now. Another thing that I think is very interesting, that this kind of leads into it, and I know I'm all over the place, that um that when you progress in a spiritual way, when you become more full of light and more full of godliness, your Yetzer Hara also grows, your animal soul also grows in the opposite direction. So it's like your light, the light of Tohu becomes stronger as you get more holy. So that's something to really keep in mind, because there's a lot of history in the Gomorrah, in the Talmud, where they tell about great sages, really great, powerful guys. There's one named Acher. Acher means like, the other, like the opposite, like the through the back, the back, going backwards. Acher became like the greatest apikorsim, like the greatest sinner ever, and he was a great sage. Um, so you have to, like, as you get holier, you're never safe. You have to continually keep progressing. If you're not progressing and you're staying still, you're in a dangerous place. You don't want to, like, eat a sandwich on the ladder, man. When you're climbing up, there's no time to waste. You can't just sit there and relax. You got to keep climbing up. I know from experience. I mean, every time I think like, okay, man, I really got it, man. I'm good to go. I'm finally, I don't have a Yetzer Hara anymore. And then it's like, boom, poof, it's like it slams you, like you just, yeah, everything is judgment day. Yeah. Some look down. Yeah. Don't look down. But anyway, so we're talking about the vanity. So it says here again that, I mean, this is it's a very long thing. I really should have. I just didn't have time. I wake up in different states of consciousness in the morning, because I woke up, I wake up between 2:30 and 3 every morning, and um, takes me a while to, like, come into, and I look at the news and I look at the Torah section. I say Tanya first. I try to say it first. But anyway, so he talks about, here, let me just read the take home. Being an intermediate man, a Beinoni, which we aspire to, or I aspire to, might not be as perfect as a tzaddik, but it is your perfect. And that's what Richard is saying about this whole channel. Being a Beinoni is how you shine. This is your mission. It's not your mission. It's not my mission to be like a holy, completely holy dude, man. And there are people in my shul, they learn all day. They're like, they don't have an evil side. They're just so beautiful. But on the other hand, they can be easily misled into doing this, like, medical thing. I mean, because they're so pure. So God needs everybody. That's why I'm saying, like, that's why you're so important. You're the last piece in the jigsaw puzzle. Everyone is the last piece, because without you, I mean, together we're going to beat this colossal advanced enemy. And we're coming into an age where we have the technology. Somehow we got the technology. We're technologically advanced enough to be able to take on this force. I mean, this force was making us have wars for no reason other than to benefit them and keep the population down and help them make some more money so they could control us. But we're in a point now where we're just like, we're beyond wars. We're not doing it anymore. We know Jasara Nasara is just a blink of an eye away. We know that the banking system is about to be completely transformed, and the economic system, instead of stealing our money with the IRS, they're going to be giving us money. So, but it says in today's Torah report, in today's Tanya, it does say that, that God helps us, that without God's help, we couldn't do it. Okay, so now this aforementioned love attained by the Bennonim at the time of prayer by virtue of the temporary predisponderance of the divine soul over the animal soul. So while he's praying, the Benoni is hot, man. He's like, he's holy, but it passes after prayer. I mean, he has to be careful. That's why there was a purported Benoni in the community in the last generation. Yeah. Yeah, we need variety, Richard, 100%. William, yeah. Carla Joe, you're the best. Carla Joe is like a ray of sunshine, literally a ray of sunshine. Um, yeah, William, yeah, that's cool, man. You're seeing things. And that's good. Somebody came to Moses and said, they're prophesizing, Moses, do something. And he was like, that's great. They're prophesizing. What could be bad? He was happy. Yeah, and like a person like you, Patricia, man, I mean, you're on such a high level. I mean, I'm saying these things about me. I don't know about you guys. I'm just saying for me. I have a big Yetzer Hara. I know, and probably that's what makes me more, godly in a way. It makes me pursue godliness with that much fervor. And I really recognize at this point in my development how much better it feels to be connected to God than the greatest sense pleasures or the most incredible piece of chocolate cake, right, Carla Joe? The most incredible chocolate cake in the world is nothing compared to one moment of feeling God's radiance inside of you. Yeah, let it flow, man. You guys, I don't believe in all these hard edges, man. You're like, you got to do this, you got to do this. I mean, I get that from certain people in my community, but not so much anymore. And it's funny, the people who are newer to Hasidus, like the new members, are like much rougher on themselves than the old timers. I think the old timers come to like they understand the boundaries better. Yeah, got to keep learning. Hey, Karen, so good to see you. Karen's an example of like such a radiant, oh my gosh, her soul is so bright. Um, why do people go through the things they do? It's just, you know, it's we're coming into an age, I think, where people are really coming to appreciate the unusual. I mean, this whole structure, like I grew up in the 50s, like at the tail end of the 50s where it was all about like, you got to go to a good college, and it was all like there was a up and a down to the world. Um, so yeah, we flow and ramble. Yes. Yeah, I know. It's just not my style to go straight up. I mean, and I think you guys, I think it's like there are rabbis. Listen, there's zillion rabbis out there who if you want to learn the today's Tanya portion, you should go to Chabad.org. And Josh Gordon does a great job. I mean, it's just not my shtick. My shtick is really applying the news, like what I perceive to be the news, like the big picture to the Torah portion of the day. I think that's, and also I think my real skill as a researcher is that I'm able to put many different pathways. I'm able to find the sparks, like the points of intersections. The gosh, I'm a math teacher. I can't even remember, but like the vertexes between different lines where they meet. Um, like I was able to put together this idea from yesterday. They were saying that Bush Senior, when he said it's the small over the large, that they're going to be okay. He was not really talking in a magnanimous way, like he really cared about the little people. He was talking just the opposite. This is like the double speak they use. but I wasn't able to really decipher that idea until I saw it and I started understanding about all this hybridization, all the cloning that goes on, about the vrills, and I believe all this stuff. I don't have I can suspend disbelief. I don't. I mean, to me, it's more of the idea of a vril is more real than the benefit of going to an Ivy League university. I mean, that to me is a total fantasy. I mean, vril, I totally believe in. Yeah, it's definitely yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. How did I know when I was a little kid? How did I know you're supposed to pray when you go to sleep? I grew up in a totally agnostic house, but I knew that. It's just part of our DNA. Hey, Getz. Yeah, man, Tennessee. I can't go back. I love it too much. I really love the chocolate cake there. That's my problem. I mean, ugh, oh, I shouldn't even mention it. 9 months in the womb, in the wound. DNA. Yeah, right. I also thought Richard. I also thought Bush was a good guy. The second Bush. I was totally fooled. These guys are evil. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, so let me see. I think I'm gonna go back now. The relation of the Beinoni to level of truth in each man relative to his standing in the category of Beinoni. Their love which they possess only during prayer, I mean the language of truth, shall be established forever. Since their divine soul has the power to reawaken the reawaken this love constantly whenever it gathers strength during prayer day after day by means of the spiritual preparation appropriate to each soul's quality and rank. And this is what Richard's saying, is that each soul is different. That's what the Kabbalah doesn't want you to appreciate. Everybody vibrates with a different frequency, man. We all have our own songs. We all have our own experiences, and that's a good thing. Together we are one. Yeah, 40 weeks, right. That's interesting, Gets. 40. I'm not sure what the significance of 40 is, but 39. 39 is 3 times 3, and 39 is um there 39 malachas, 39 laws of keeping Shabbos. That's where all the Jewish halacha comes from, from those basic 39 principles laid out in Torah. Diversity, yeah. Yeah, and Moses went up for 40 days, right? I think you probably said that. He went up for 40 days and 40 nights. Interesting, 40. 33, angelic sign. It's also the sign of the bad boys, like 33 also. They're always doing things in multiples of 11, like 9/11. Angels are for sure looking out for us. I got a bunch of ones that like keep me out of trouble. Like I keep them working overtime. 40 days the spies went out, right? Yeah, 40 is significant. I'm not sure what that would be. 40, not sure. Not sure why 40. 4 times 10. It could be the four worlds times 10. Like the total climbing the ladder, the four worlds, each world has 10 spheros. So that's 40. That's pretty cool. 7 years. Seven is the number within nature. Like there's 7 days in the week, 7 days in the Shemitah cycle. Seven is the number of nature, and eight is above nature, and nine is completely above nature. Nine is emes. Nine is truth. Interesting, Karen. I didn't know you were such a music fan. I didn't get that. Interesting. No, Karen, no. I think you know. I mean, it's just that the technology. We don't have the technology. I mean, imagine how we doing on time. Imagine in a few years that instead of meeting like a class like this, where like I'm speaking and you're writing, we could always already do Zoom. But I mean, imagine that we won't even need the technology. We'll just be telepathic. We'll just be communing with each other naturally. Like if I want to visit Karen, I'll just think of. I mean, they say you can do that now. Like when you get thoughts of somebody else, it's usually them communicating with you. Very bad reaction to the jab. Yeah. So yeah, what was I just? I forgot. I lost my train of thought. Oh, about telepathy. So yeah, my mother, whenever a lot of times when my mother calls, I think of her before she calls, and so she calls. She says, "Oh, Ellie, I was just thinking about you," and I'm like, "I know, Mom." um, so I could take that to the other way. My Yetzer Hara would also like to think about it in the other way, in terms of contacting people in a non-kosher way. But I haven't, thank God, I haven't had a willing victim to to go into that corridor of understanding. Thank God. Okay, so let me. Okay, so since I've been all over the place, let me at least read the daily Geula study. Let's read the daily. Oh, that's weekly. Let me just find daily partial. Okay, Wednesday. Warmth and coldness. Okay, the river will swarm with frogs, and they will go into your ovens. The lesson of the plague of blood was that Egypt's cold indifference towards God must be replaced with warm enthusiasm for him. Once this has been accomplished, the second complementary stage is to replace the Egyptian enthusiasm for materiality with cold indifference towards it. Although the Torah does require us to tend to our physical needs, we must beware not to let this involvement divert our attention from the primary purpose of life, spiritual growth, and accomplishing God's plan for us for all reality. Insomuch as frogs are cold creatures, they're cold blooded, their invasion of the Egyptians' ovens allegorically signified how the oven like Egyptian heat, the Egyptians' enthusiasm for materialism, should be replaced by cold apathy. This is a basic stage in our own ongoing redemption from the bondage of our personal Egypt. Okay, that's pretty cool. Thanks, Prophecy Seekers. It's likewise, man. I love you guys. So how we doing? We're doing time. We have 19 people. That's like we're coming back, man. In the I think in the old days we had, a lot more on my other channel, but it'll come back. I'm not worried. And it's not really about YouTube any so much anymore. It's more about, you know, community. So we will be meeting tonight and we can discuss more general things. Let me, since I have time, let me read the Geula Insight. This is the Parsha. That's the daily Torah reading. And now let's read, where's, Patricia? Is Patricia still there? I had it was so nice to get to spend a little time with Patricia. And Okay, so Google study. Let's just read this quickly. The prohibition of calculating the end time. So this is interesting. Throughout Jewish history, there were those who attempted to figure out when the Mashiach would come based on their interpretation of various verses. The sages were extremely opposed to this, as the Talmud teaches. May the spirit of those who calculate the end times, well, I don't want to say that. For the I don't know if this is true. For the end times arrived, and Mashiach did not come. Oh, because if it didn't come at the time that they said, they would be bummed out. As understood from the Talmud, the primary reason why these calculations were shunned and strongly discouraged was due to the great harm it would cause. Seeing that Mashiach had not come at the calculated date, it would cause people to lose their belief in Mashiach's coming altogether. Additionally, proper belief in the coming of Mashiach is also to anticipate his coming at any moment. That's really cool. Like, we just have to be ready all the time, 24/7. Even on Shabbos, I think there was some halachic proof that Mashiach could even come on Shabbos because he's matters. Okay, so the Holy One, blessed be He, said, "Those who calculate the end times of when Mashiach will come are fools. For this is a matter I have never revealed, as it says." There is a day of vengeance in my heart. It is concealed in my heart, and my heart never revealed it to my mouth. It was never verbalized. This is from the Zohar. And it goes on, indeed, as the prophet Daniel prophesied, and some of the wise will stumble to explain them, to refine and clarify the calculations of the end time until the end time, for there is yet time until the appointed time. So remember, Jacob, was it Jacob or Isaac? Yeah, Jacob wanted to reveal the end time to his sons, but God said, no, it's not time to reveal that. Karen's a poet. I mean, her words. I mean, I'm trying to get her to write for my for our news website. I'm coming up with another website. My friend Shaquille in India is working on another website for the courses, because I'm going to try to link the first course with the second course. The first course, by the way, is really a vocabulary course and should be treated as such. It was not really taught in a way that anyone can really, where I really delved into the nature of all that vocabulary. It's just like they say, um, see you, Richard. Adios. Gracias. Muchas gracias. Um, de nada. Um, I love that thing with Trump with the mustache. Am I running out of time? Yeah, I probably talked too much. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying, but yes, Karen has great. Yeah, so I have this website of news articles. So if anybody wants to write, please feel free to send me an article. But I'm starting another website for the courses. So I was talking about this course. Like, the third video just goes through all the Kabbalah, all the vocabulary you'll ever need. Now, when I first started learning Kabbalah, I read somewhere that when you learn about like a sphera, that it's like you're opening a file cabinet, and as you get older and as you learn, you put things into the file cabinet. That's how you should think of these things. So the vocabulary is just there to like open a file cabinet, and then as you grow and learn and put two and two together, you'll start to put files into the cabinet. Okay, so yeah, so I'm going along. So success is a social thing. Interesting. I would think that the Rebbe probably knew. I mean, although I heard that he was very disappointed that he didn't come already, and he couldn't. They said, at least publicly, that he couldn't understand why Mashiach wasn't here because of all the things that we did, all the hard work we did. The Rebbe said he could not understand. Hey, Baseman, you too, man. Okay, well, so we'll see you guys tonight. Thanks for putting up with me, and you guys are the best. Just know that it's happening. It's happening, man. Mashiach is imminent. It could happen any day, any time. And we are bringers of the dawn, and that we're ready for anything. We're ready for action, ready to take over this The evil is just here to help us become good. Yep. All right, guys. May the force be with you, and God bless.